Welcome, welcome. Got my morning coffee. Got a bowl of weed or tobacco for YouTube purposes. I find that my thoughts are more clear in the morning. I'm not tainted by uh, what I see or what I consume. It's just me in the morning. Maybe some music, or maybe I'll write a little, write some thoughts, or I'll reflect on the dream I had, which I don't do that often, but I want to start reflecting on the dreams I end up having during the night. Hi, Molly. You want to see my cat? Come here. Come here. Ow. Come here. Oh, come here. Come here. I just want to show you love and give you love. Come here, buddy. Oh, my big boy. He's a big baby. He likes being held and loved, but he's really like movement, like fast movement always gets him, which it makes sense. Okay. Sorry, Mom, I'll pick you up later. Oh my God, come here. Come here. I got another cat. He's a little, he's doing his own thing. Anyway, 2 minutes in, what I want to say. I want to explore some topics where I just see things happening. Like a little bit of a dystopian sight I see, but I don't know really where to start this. I think maybe the thumbnail. I think I put a David Foster Wallace quote talking about ads. And what ads do, in that quote, he says that ads create anxiety renewable, or anxiety renewable by purchase, or fixable by purchase, not purpose. And I think that, I don't find myself consuming a lot of material items. I don't find myself buying stupid shit. I find myself buying food, or maybe a book, some art, canvases or whatnot. But, if I'm shopping for clothes, I shop at Goodwill nowadays. There's no point to shop anywhere else. Cats are going crazy. That's okay. That's what they do. That's why I love it. But yeah, I don't purchase anything new nowadays. I don't think I've seen an ad. I don't even know since I couldn't tell you, but I haven't seen an ad where I'm just I need that. I need that. And most of my advertisements now, if I'm going to if we're just going to talk about advertisements and what they do and how they are getting pushed upon everything nowadays, where you have to, there's options like a fast pass, fucking Kings Island, or Cedar Point, some amusement park. You're like, do I really want to wait in this line? It's only $80 more for the fast pass. It's only this amount. That's what's happening with advertisements on one level. And I don't know, crazy. And that's exhausting. You almost, because I've bought the fast pass at those amusement parks when I was going, or my parents did, or whatnot. And sometimes it was very useful. When me and my dad went to Busch Gardens, We bought a fast pass, and it was the most useful thing we've probably done. We don't go to those things a lot, you know what I mean? But now, if you want to translate that sort of metaphor, everyone every day is going to the amusement park to pay for fast passes. If you want to like just exaggerate that metaphor and compare it to like advertisements and how people are paying for services to like remove ads. Um, it's just weird to, it, I can't say anything about it like personally, like subjectively. I have to be object. Like what I try to do is be objective about it and maybe like laugh about some subjective things amongst that topic. I don't own any streaming services anymore. I feel like that was the first thing that kind of went away when I came to the world of being an adult or figuring out being an adult. I was like, people are paying, like people are paying for this shit monthly, and not just one subscription either. It's multiple subscriptions. The first subscription we had to, or most people have to buy into is Rent. And that was one thing. Maybe a car payment, which that's a whole other thing. I fucking hate the idea of car payments. You can drive the shit box for like 2 car payments or whatever. Not 3 car. Depending on your, fuck that. Depending on your subscription, you can pay like certain amounts over like 4 years for some cars. I think most people should just fucking drive a shit box that can get you to point A to point B. Oh, it's not electric. It's not. We as humans, in my opinion, have been shoved into this like back corner of living where we have all these subscriptions, all these fucking things we have to pay for to remove the inconveniences of life. And I think one thing about that is the fact that culture and society kind of builds this mold or builds this form of, I think in the culture's eyes, you could say it's perfection. Um, but the perfection is more or less just an end to the means of mystery. The culture provides you the reason to justify your actions amongst your daily living. And that kind of trickles down amongst the well of culture and what kind of falls into the lines of culture and what falls out of it. Some days I don't have the ability to speak like I am now. Like I write more than I speak or I draw more. I think I'm going to challenge myself more on these topics and stick to these lives, even if they don't get watched, but they'll get watched in time by someone, and it'll help them or it won't. But what I think the trajectory of this conversation that I'm having or this topic that I'm talking about ends up being about your time in this world, and what goes on in it. Excuse me, oh my God. I think I got a burp again. But what goes on in your time? And is this you creating your life, or is it you falling in between the lines of someone else's? And I think some people are really okay with just falling in between the lines, and I I don't give a fuck. But falling in between the lines nowadays has a greater effect, a physical effect onto other people's daily lives. That's what's happening now. Because we could sit here and like, oh, it's this topic, it's this culture, it's this religion, it's this group of people. It's, I think it's really, I think it's, the sort of collection of all these normalized things that have been normalized throughout our history of, the world. We're now at a point in civilization where some of that shit just doesn't fucking cut it. Like cutting down a tree. Like, it just doesn't, you can't do that at speeds, at the speeds we're currently doing it or have been doing it in the past. That's one thing, this is a little off note, but that's one thing about like older civilizations like Egypt, maybe, or just some of those, older civilizations like, Rome and, Italy and Greece and all over there amongst Europe. You look at the structures they used to build. But you look at the structures they used to build. There was more intention and meaning inside, into these structures and inside these structures. And the people would go to these structures, such as, the marketplace, the temple, the church. There was, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and be like informed and tell you all the things they did. I gotta blow my nose. Oh my gosh. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you the details of everything they did and what they no. But we can probably come to an agreement where we can both, or whoever this is, we can realize that there was more time put into the buildings that were coming, coming into the physical world and what were coming through ideas. But now, I built some barns, some pole barns. I built some pole barns and did that for a little. There was some meaning I felt doing it, right? But it felt at the same time like I was fucking playing like large sized. What are you doing? Like a large sized log, yeah, what is it? Playing with Lincoln logs or Legos. I'm not saying it was easy. I'm definitely not saying it was easy. It takes a lot of physical strength and a lot of motivation, honestly. But I will say, with the amount of when we were working in a smaller, group, so there's like less of us, and we were making really good progress on all these barns. And I think that was really impressive. There was only like 4 of us, 5 of us, including me, on a job site, and we all had our roles and we stuck to the roles. And there was something like meaningful in that action of working as a group. But the end product, you know what I mean? It took a few weeks to put up. Some of the average barn we were doing, depending on whether if weather was cooperating or whatnot. But to me, it ended up being not worth my time because I think morally, the building materials that was kind of being used I think just is very naive in the sense of like it's naive in the thinking that this can continue on. I think I do. My I think my dad has brought this point up to me. Is like you can regrow a tree, so that's why we build out of it instead of like building out of these materials that you can't replace. And I was like, that's a great point, but now you can't because there's fucking 8 billion, 9 billion of us on this fucking planet consuming all this garbage. And there's more like little items on scale made out of way more harmful um, materials that are getting outpaced. Like, the production is outpacing the consumption for one part, the interest of the consumer, as well as like the buildings to hold the physical structures to hold these things. And it's not just to hold these things in a very physical way, it's in a mental way as well, where you have large entities, corporations, businesses that are known now amongst the public that you can just order. It'll be at your door in 4 hours. Tomorrow. What does that do to someone? That has to have an like objectively. That has to have an effect. Is it going like unnoticed? No, but it's not the center of topic, which I think the effects of our digital world nowadays and these the convenience. Hold on. The cats are catting, man. Sometimes they just meow and they get really annoying, but it's okay. Um, I'm kind of glad I lost my train of thought. I think we have to start talking from a perspective of all these situations that are happening. We have to talk sort of from the perspective above them all and to sadly generalize some of these behaviors. And I think that needs to happen. A lot of people aren't going to agree with probably some of the changes that will have take place, and I can't say I will either. But if we want any sort of change to happen, we have to come up with the ideas. We have to come up with the ideas, put it somewhere, put it out there for someone. Maybe someone will be inspired, maybe not. Maybe someone will twist your words and maybe not. That's also, there's so many worlds that are existing in this one universe or one world. Purely, I'm talking about the complexification of the moment right now. Because at this moment, you could enter into any world via the digital world, and depending on your level of confidence or your social class and or your finances as well, you could probably go anywhere in the world physically as well. Maybe at one point or another with technology. I think now the weight of conformity to certain platforms through the digital world, the global village, if you will, they are they're losing the meaning. They're losing the depth of them. So, some of the things I see online or social media are very like, okay, I can see someone thought this out, but a lot of the things that I've seen but I also hear and observe from other people, which is a big part of my understanding as well, is because I try to figure out what other people are watching. Because if you're all, because that's one another thing, the main fucking thing, the algorithm controls you and you control the algorithm. And it's hard to fucking get out of your algorithm. It's hard to get out of your own world and see other things. And that's dangerous. Specifically, when people are only getting their news and information through these algorithms. And they're trading in what I'm doing, like words, someone's speaking. They're trading in like actual information for that, for people just fucking summarizing the thing. And the main thing about the internet that it's so paradoxical. It just has a paradox to it. It's the best and the worst thing. It's almost the yin and yang of itself. You can harness the internet to be a fucking tool, a great tool. But at the same time, it can destroy you. I mean, completely destroy you, destroy your idea of you. It can make you believe things and make you go down paths based on just, sort of being stimulated with a certain narrative over a certain amount of time. I think also what really fascinates me about the internet these days is I think people have the idea that we're all on the same algorithm. Oh, did you see that political thing? No, I didn't. No, I really didn't. And in my opinion, what's the difference between someone, or in my opinion, I'm going to ask the question and I'll give my opinion, I guess. What's the difference between someone who's like hyper fixated on the algorithm about keeping up with the culture and someone who is just outside of it, seeking, like being the source and seeking online things they want to see, versus what I just said, someone who just kind of opens their mouth and lets the algorithm go down their throat. What's the difference? Like, genuinely, do you have people in your life that are different like that? I have a few. There's more people who are like feeding at the trough of the algorithm, if you will, than there are people who are just fucking seeking shit, random shit online. The random shit I find is so beautiful at times. I've been watching older, short, abstract films. A guy named Hollis Frampton, I want to say. I don't want to be exact, but Hollis. It's like Holis. Really interesting guy that he was making some interesting things. Something that I guess wasn't aware of was the 20s and 30s and how kind of experimental it was with film, because film and photography was really just really grasping everyone in the culture. I think no one really could have predicted where we'd be with the internet. And now we're just kind of like riding the wave of what's happening. And there's only certain people who are confident enough. And something that you have to understand is confidence does not always stem from just being confident within themselves. Confidence nowadays is almost stemmed from status. What do you have? What can you offer me? Or what can I offer to people? And that builds confidence within themselves. there's like a lower class of men and women I see that I think I personally might even belong to, or I have more of a better time engaging with and talking about things. Um, I think okay, well, fuck. Oh yeah, this lower class of people I think have less confidence within themselves because confidence is like a monetary material thing nowadays. And there's a whole lot of people who are like unable to, including myself at times, there's a whole lot of people who are just unable to get out of that sort of perspective or perception of confidence. I think that's one thing I'm building for myself or trying to build in this world right now is how can I be confident? And that confidence really, or like, what do I want to be confident in? Which is myself, right? What things do I feel align with me so that I can not compete with anyone, not compete with status, social status, because that's what it ends up being with the confidence. The people with the majority of confidence nowadays, it's bought and paid for, and it's a competition between things you buy and pay for. For the lower class of people, I think the competition is we're almost being fooled into that sort of competition or that competitive state of living where you compete with whoever, whatever. And then sometimes there are winners, if you will, winners who maybe enter a new sort of social class based upon money or status they buy into. But I think there's a whole lot of people who are like dictated by an image, by the screen, the digital world, the global village. They're dictated by the mental image that gets projected onto them. And what ends up being like that mental image is this sort of like, I deserve to be a millionaire kind of mindset. Like, oh, I'm just not rich yet. But I love living rich. I love living rich and lavishly. And when you have like a whole bunch of people who are trying to like reach a social status over like meaning and depth into their life, I think it just creates a very ugly interactive world with people. And when you speak about these things, you have to generalize. That's the sort of double negative that creates a positive is you have to excuse me. You have to generalize social groups and people you see um, just to be able to like talk about something. And language is so small compared to feeling and depth of the present moment. I think our languages have to evolve. I think the problem is we're translating. A computer is making the translation for us rather than like our own intentive direction, if that makes sense. if you want to get a little more dystopian, which I love getting dystopian, I view the internet as we know it will go away. Maybe. I think it's going to be either really dangerous to go away, to strip it away for people, or it might go smoothly. Who knows? But I think it'll be more of a like a library of information that we have to physically go to. It'll be like the bar, the coffee shop. Oh, but instead you're not drinking coffee, you're fucking using the screen. And you're all going to be around each other. I mean, that's already happening in a way. The technology isn't like an all connecting fungus or all connecting root network like a plant. It is, but it isn't. Right now we're like the genitals. Who said that? I know I'm copying someone, but we're like the genitals for technological production or electrical production. I don't know who said that. Someone said that, but I thought I was like, yeah, we are the ones kind of creating and birthing these things. It's weird. So weird. I think also what social media or these algorithms are doing is creating like digital cults. You might not want to use that word, but we're going to use cults because literally, like, it's like, oh, how many followers do you have? Come on, followers. I think some platforms are using like friends. Subscribers is different, which I don't like that word. Subscription. I don't like that word. But followers, let's not. Like, come on. Especially what kind of like gets promoted nowadays. I made a post the other day, a little out of not anger, but a little out of just like random emotion. It was like a repost about like the Met Gala or Gala, whatever, and I was just seeing what these fucks were wearing, and I'm one to wear. I think I'm one to argue for expression. Like, I want people to express themselves in art and clothing, I guess, but what that sort of thing, the Met Gala or the whatever, the Grammys, you know, and all those things, it ends up being the most dystopian thing you could watch or observe. To me, like, I think let alone if you're looking at what they're wearing, sure, it's fucked up. You're like, oh, really? Like, come on. Then you get to the topic of conversation that's happening amongst, you know, the interviewers, the reporters, and then you're like, what the fuck? Holy shit. So I made a post. I was like, what the fuck? These fucks are like living in this world, this completely different world than us. That's what it seemed to be. They don't have to think about the things we have to think about. Once again, I'm generalizing. You have to in conversation, and that's the real fucking hard part about this 2026 is no one wants to have these conversations and explore, first of all. But our sort of like, you know, it reminded me of like the Hunger Games, you know, Panem, where all these people are just like in one zone, wearing and living in a completely different way from these people outside, you know, the districts of Panem. Or I think that's what it's called. But our Hunger Games is not fucking, the game, like, it's not an extreme like the Hunger Games is in the show or the movie or the book or whatever. Our Hunger Games consist of Mr. Beast, his little weird tactics of manipulating people and getting them to compete, gambling for ones. Gambling and like sports kind of goes hand in hand. Um, I said like Love Island, and then I said like war or genocide itself, because all these things that I just listed can be viewed and interacted with through these at rates that we can't comprehend. We just can't comprehend. And what that does, I guess we're seeing. 36 minutes in, I felt like I reached some things I wanted to say. Um, Maybe I'll leave you. I'll leave you with something I've written. Um, I just write randomly. It helps a lot. I've written this. The mental image that leads the mind is a landscape that directs the will to a space of speeding up the processes based on the environment that influences the individual's mind. Sometimes I amaze myself. I don't think I'm a great writer, but I just little epiphanies. I'm like, okay. Fear has haunted generations of people. It has taken over the mental image that the mind stems from. It has become the residing place, the designated hangout. This is the last one. It's a little longer, but let's try to articulate the depth and vast nature of the screens, the global village, the internet, the library of Earth that is electronically captured. It is a tool, a digital manuscript, a mausoleum of hopes and desires, the eternal fear. It has access points beyond comprehension. Some of these access points, and these ones are the dominant usages of screens, have been flooded with ideologies and beliefs of dogmatic cultures, orientated around the notion of materials, advertisements, and the all seeing eye of the ability to capture an image and then cast it out to the global village, to then wait for the eyes of the world to curate the collective mental image that controls the culture. I think I could have worded that better, but that's kind of the idea of writing is like figuring out how to say shit. I randomly wrote a call to courage. I'll leave you with that. A call to courage is what's necessary. We have to have the courage to say things, to call shit out, to be weird, to be observant, to be like, fuck that, fuck that. You have the courage to be there. Have a little fun too. and smile. Listen to good music.